Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, March 16th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts, how they can be used to build consistency as a trader and help make good decisions, then this will be a video for you. Real quick, before I get to the watch list, I want to first just personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering in just a couple of days here. So if you're liking what you see and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can and should be used as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, then there's an area right there on the web page that you can click on and get signed up. So like I said, if you're liking what you see, then certainly get signed up for the free class. Before I get to each stock, a couple of clarification points. Number one, the market is still open for a little bit of time. So the price you'll see over here will still be changing around, and then the candlesticks will also be moving around. But I like to do these videos when the market's still open for a little bit of time because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day type price movement. And then next, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So for you beginners out there, what that means is that each one of these candlesticks here, as you see, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So first stock here, ticker symbol NIO. Talked about this one previously and how it had been beaten up, and now things get that much more interesting because the price finally didn't get beaten up today. Now it started off rough with the gap down, but then that second 30-minute period right there, big move upwards, and then after that essentially just went sideways. But the general idea here is at least this thing has finally started to go sideways. Now let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because the price has now started to go sideways does not guarantee that for sure this is the bottom. However, does it become a little bit more valid? Does it become a little bit more plausible to say, hey, you know what? Maybe this is the bottom and maybe some sort of worthwhile bounce is coming. Yes, it absolutely becomes, again, not guaranteed, but plausible to think that way. And in my mind, it's still all about that red line right there at 1535, which I talked about yesterday. And you can see the power of charts. Look right where the bounce from today actually got rejected. Literally right at that red line. Again, the power of charts. So quick plug, definitely get signed up for that class because, I mean, they're a tool that certainly needs to be learned. But point here being going forward is that this 1535 mark remains a very important level of resistance. And if the price can break up through there, then at that point, that just gains that much more credibility that, okay, maybe some sort of bottom is in, and that maybe a bigger bounce will come along. So keep your eye closely on the 1535 mark. Next one here, HYMC, absolutely monster move today, but essentially just a gap and trap where the price had closed down here on Monday, opened up there, hence the gap up, and then from there, just essentially straight down. But this is where things get interested because, yeah, it was very ugly, especially if you're somebody that was buying up around there. But from the big picture point of view, notice right where the price has now started to kind of get choppy and go sideways. Well, right there at that purple line, which on my chart denotes the 50-period moving average, which when you look back previously, you can see that the price found some support right there before. So once again, finding some support once more right there. Now, like I was just saying with the previous stock, does that mean that for sure guaranteed this is the bottom? No, but it certainly becomes a lot more credible to think that the price is pulled back to the purple line and then, coincidence or not, all of a sudden has started to go sideways at that area. So what is an area that keep an eye on to, potentially, okay, is this thing actually starting to turn around? Well, I think, let me change that up. I think the level here that makes it very interesting is that trend line right there. So if the price can push up through that trend line, more than plausible to think that that break could create some upwards pressure, some upwards momentum, and then within the big picture of things, potentially, continue on with the overall uptrend. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that the price breaks through that line. That means that for sure the uptrend is going to continue. But let's just say, it quote unquote only goes up that high. From a trading standpoint, that could still potentially be a nice worthwhile trade. But overall, if you like to play this price range, a whole bunch of volume today did get relatively ugly, but now the ugly has turned into a potentially nice little risk versus reward, setup here. So keep a close eye on it. Next one, AMC, and a good solid day. Things started to go sideways, made the move up, and is now actually up above a couple of key levels. So not just one, but two. So the first level is that red line, which I've talked about previously at 1425. So good to see that. But also the price is now up above that purple line, the 50-period moving average, which brings about a huge question mark moving forward. Is this the start of something bigger? Now think about that question. In order for me to even ask that question, something significant needs to happen in the first place. And we got two very significant things, right? As I've already mentioned, got above the red line, got above the purple line. Does it mean it is the start of something bigger? No, because of course that would imply a guarantee. But is it something that should be watched? Is it significant? Absolutely, and that's the whole point of a watch list. So yes, you are able to now ask those questions. Hey, is this the start of something bigger? I don't know if it is. Nobody knows for sure if it is, but it's certainly worthwhile, worth keeping an eye on. So if you think this could be potentially the start of something bigger, if you would consider these events significant, then this one should definitely be on your watch list. So, well, you can watch it. Next one, RLX. Very, very nice bounce here on the day, and is now one of those situations where, again, is it at the start of something bigger? Now, I'm just curious about this. I mean, I'm going to draw this trend line in play here and see, is this really a trend line? I'll be the first to admit, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to fit a square peg through a round hole, but I did find it pretty intriguing how by using that line or that point and that point, how it did a pinpoint accurate job of locating that. And then you look at the action right now, and surprise, surprise, once again, the price gets right up around that trend line and is now starting to kind of putz around and, kind of seemingly lose some momentum. But I haven't, I'm not saying lost all momentum, but clearly right now a little bit of a challenge with momentum. But the point here being is keep your eye on right around this $1.75, $1.80 mark going forward. And if the price can get above there and then begin to stay up above that level, in my opinion at least, that would certainly be a step in the right direction and imply that there's some good upwards pressure here that is building. So keep a close eye on that dynamic. If the price can push up through there, the next key overall level would be either up around that $2 mark. As far as pullbacks are concerned and levels of support, keep a close eye right there on any sort of pullback of around $1.40. But definitely, like I said, the interesting dynamic here is, okay, can the price actually get up through that trend line? Let's see what happens. Next one, SONM, and this is, again, one of those where you just got to ask the question because clearly some significant things have gone on. Big volume, and to accompany that big volume, good upside pressure. And this is, pretty much the first day as I glance over the daily chart where this thing has gotten a whole bunch of volume. So really it's just a question of, hey, is this overall movement, is this overall momentum the start of something much, much bigger? Meaning, are we going to look back at this in a few weeks and be like, hey, remember when this one was down below $1.25? No, maybe not. Maybe this is a one-day wonder and it just drifts back into oblivion. Of course, that's absolutely possible too, but it is a two-sided coin because sure, maybe it drifts back into oblivion as one side of the coin, but the other side of the coin is, or maybe this is kind of just a big leading indicator that this upside, today is just a start of a much bigger trend to build. So like I said, if you like to play these sort of kind of potential situations where sure, maybe you feel like you've missed it because the move has already happened, well, you've only missed it if you want to just play one day. But if this does turn into a multiple day move, well, then you could have some opportunity here. And once more, that's the whole idea behind a watch list, right? Just to keep an eye on things. You don't have to take action, but at least watch it. And if you like to play this price range, I definitely put this one, on an area somewhere to keep an eye on. Next one, KAVL, and this is a fascinating one along the same object or logic as what we just talked about. Yeah, interesting, but with the way the volume has dropped off, I don't know, maybe it was just kind of a little miniature movement here this morning. You can see opening 30 minutes, huge movement, big volume. Next 30 minutes, big volume. And then after that, volume really dropped off. So it's just a question of, okay, did volume drop off because this is just a calm before another storm? Or did volume drop off just because literally it was kind of a little miniature move and this one will just drift right back into where it was? And that's why, in my mind, the important level is down here at the $1.60 mark. And I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down to $1.60 and then break down below it, think about what that's doing to the price. At that point, that's essentially putting the price right back to where it was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of true power, genuine strength. So again, not saying that's the case, but it is a valid situation that you need to monitor because you want to make sure that you don't spend too much time with something that's ultimately not showing any sort of movement that suggests that it wants to have strength. And again, dropping back below $1.60, not really a sign that this thing wants to have any sort of strength. Next one, AMD, and I'll zoom back in, but just to give overall context, because I talked about this pattern several videos ago. I don't remember exactly when, but some point, when the price was still between these lines here, but that's where things get interesting because notice what happened today. The price has officially broken out of this pattern. So that's the general context of the pattern, which then brings about the question of, okay, a significant event has happened. So is this the start of a much bigger breakout? Is this breakout in technical jargon going to get continuation, going to show more signs of strength? And it very well could. Once more, nothing's guaranteed, but it is certainly plausible to think that this thing could be seeing more upside given that it's finally broken out through the pattern. So you're going to want to keep a close eye on that. But it becomes a question of, okay, well, what would be another, kind of confirmation sign of power? And that would be, can the price get up to that pink line there, which on my chart denotes the 200 period moving average, break above it, and then stay up above it, up there at 111. So if the price can now get to 111, break above it and stay above, that would be just that much more confirmation that, wow, yeah, AMD was already starting to get strong, but it's gotten that much stronger. So if you like to play pattern breakouts, but want to wait for maybe a bit more confirmation, then in my mind, that 111 mark makes a whole lot of sense. Next one here, PLTR, which has now officially, I would say, built itself a nice, well-defined area of support down there at $10.40. When you go back to yesterday and then combine in today, you can see just a whole bunch of times down around this area. And then as I speak, you can see closed up very nicely. Market actually just officially closed here. So these prices over here will now stop moving. But point here being is closed very, very nicely this afternoon with a lot of eyeballs now going to be watching this level right here. So let me be very clear. Me drawing that level right there at about 1090 is not some great discovery. It's not some special talent. I assure you a bunch of people have drawn that level. And I say that because when a lot of people are watching the same level and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements, and that is exactly what's happening there. So if you like to play potential breakouts that are occurring off of, bottoming out type moves, then keep a close eye on this because as you can see, to give a little bit more context, this thing has been beat up quite a bit, but with the sideways movement here, upwards, late day movement, then, this 1090 mark certainly becomes very intriguing. If you prefer to play more so pullbacks and bounces, well then, yeah, after today, now this 1040 mark, becomes a pretty good risk versus reward potential bounce point. But with the way this one closed, thinking of playing a bounce right now seemingly doesn't, seem very relevant, but of course that could change. But those would be the two main levels to watch. Next one here, MULN, and overall, nothing has really changed from the previous video I've done. Now, of course, things have changed from an intraday perspective. I understand the price gap down, came up here, and then came back down, and that's all true. But from more of an overarching level and the levels I talked about previously, the price is still down below that level of resistance I talked about. Sure, earlier today, it did get up around the general area of $2 before getting rejected back down. But even in getting rejected back down, it's not like it was a complete catastrophe because the price is still nicely up above that green line right there at $1.50. And this, pullback here was all occurring on much less volume. But the core point here is that overall, everything is still in play. In fact, if anything, this pattern here has gotten that much more cleaner to see. So we have the resistance, we have our support, we have the momentum move right there, and we have ourselves a bull flag pattern. So the bull flag is still fully intact. It's gotten actually that much more intact with the price respecting, the boundaries of it. So if you like to play these bull flag patterns, you like to play, stocks down in this price range, then this is definitely one that belongs on the watch list. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and overall, good solid move. So much so that it was able to get up through this level here at 780. And I'm going to go ahead and make that first update. And this is just based on a foundation rule in charting. When levels of support are broken, resistance are broken close above, they tend to act as support. But I also want to extend a big congratulations for those of you that watched yesterday's video on Monday. And remember me talking about that green line right there. Look right where it bounced this morning. You truly just can't make this stuff up. Our chart's perfect. Of course not. Nothing is. But our chart's a tool that should and need to be learned as a trader. Yes, and we have the proof right there. If you don't believe me about that green line, I'm not offended. Just go back and watch Monday's video. And again, I'll use that as a quick plug. Get signed up for the class because charts are truly a great tool to learn more about and understand the power that they bring to the table. But as of now, 781 is going to be that newest area of support. And then as far as levels of resistance, two primary ones to keep an eye on. First one will be that pink line there, that 200 period moving average, currently valid at, we'll call it 822.50. And then the next level will be this overall trend line that I've been, just drawing and keeping in play here. Not totally, in fact, while we're here, let's do a little maintenance on it, just get extended out some more so we can just continue to watch it and keep it in play. But like I said, it is Tesla. You never know how crazy things can get. So maybe that trend line would come into play tomorrow. I think that, pink line there has a little bit more of a reasonable chance. But point being, those would be the next two key areas of resistance. But all in all, nice day for Tesla. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to get signed up for the class, then certainly get signed up for it. It'll be, like I said, a couple of days, Thursday, March 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to put in the time and effort to structure these videos, do the analysis, then let me know by doing some basic things. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment, say hi, say thanks. let me know a ticker symbol that you traded today, and let me know that something that you're watching tomorrow. But those two things, hitting the like button and leaving a simple comment, truly do go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy the videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying, then I will continue to do them. So again, get signed up for that free class, and hopefully I'll see you on Thursday. Everybody take care. Have a good one.